Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is building better habits. As I've gone through my entrepreneurial journey for the last decade, I've recognized the power of habits and how they have the ability either to steer me on autopilot towards my overall goal of success, or while I'm sleeping, crash me into the rocks. We've all heard stories about people who had amazing potential, but just didn't have the right habits on their side to help them be successful. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down an amazing book that I know you're going to love. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, in this book, there are a couple lessons that I took away that have just been fundamental in helping me view habits a little bit differently, but more importantly, understand how I can implement them into my life so they become a part of my autopilot process to help me steer my ship towards success even when I don't feel like it. So the first lesson that I took away from Atomic Habits was start small. Now, James Clear does an amazing job of talking about why when people start building new habits, when they try and do new things in their life, often they get frustrated because we end up biting off more than we can chew. So what he talks about in the start small step, the lesson that I learned, was he shares an amazing rule. It's called the 2-minute rule. Now, the 2-minute rule is very simple. It talks about breaking down a big goal or an exercise, an activity into 2 minutes or less, something that we can complete in 2 minutes or less. What this helps us do is really start mastering the ability of showing up, doing a task day after day without having to think about it, but also without putting too much strain on ourselves. And in this book, he does an amazing job of sharing a story of someone who ended up losing 100 pounds by going to the gym for just 5 minutes a day. Now, you might be saying, Keenan, that's impossible. You can't lose 100 pounds, especially if you're just going to go to the gym for 5 minutes a day. But it's not about how long this individual ended up spending in the gym, but more importantly, the skill that he mastered by just setting that low barrier of time, 5 minutes a day, in going to the gym. By going to the gym consistently for 5 minutes a day, if that's for a week, 2 weeks, or a month long, this individual mastered the skill of showing up. By breaking his big goal down of losing weight into something that he could do consistently, he mastered that skill, and that skill was really the basis of the habit that he was able to then optimize by adding more time on top of it. Now let's talk about lesson number 2, which is make it obvious. If we're trying to establish a new habit in our lives, we need to make it as obvious as possible. My perfect example of this is trying to take vitamins on a daily basis. For the longest time, I could not take my vitamins consistently, no matter how hard I tried. I would always put them in the shelf next to my toothbrush, I put them on my nightstand, and I put them in all these different places, but I would always forget to take my vitamins. So what did I do? I took a lesson learned from this book in making it obvious, and I took my vitamin pack and I put it right next to my coffee machine. So every day when I woke up in the morning, when I was looking for that alertness, that state change, I would go over to the coffee machine and I would see my vitamins sitting right there. By integrating a new habit of taking my vitamins into something that I was already doing and has already been established, and making my vitamins obvious as part of that step of my habit, I was able to then integrate that into my life and take my vitamins more consistently. Making something obvious was super simple, but I never thought it would have such a big impact like it has on my life to this day. Now let's talk about lesson number 3, which is make it accountable. Accountability is by far one of the biggest challenges for a lot of us. Being accountable to ourselves, being accountable to the people in our lives, many of us struggle with this. But what I wanted to do from a habit building perspective was start flossing at nighttime. And so one thing that I started to look around in my environment was who could help me be accountable. So I ended up recruiting my girlfriend to be my accountability partner. So every single night she has been tasked to make sure that I've taken the time to actually floss and to build better oral hygiene habits. Now, this might sound incredibly simple, but by having somebody on your team, somebody who's willing to stand up for you, someone who's willing to hold you accountable towards what you're asking or what you're trying to accomplish, is a game changer. So I would challenge you to look at the habits that you're trying to build. If that's trying to become a better copywriter, if that's trying to go to the gym consistently, if that's even just taking a break from work and maybe going on a daily walk, how can you integrate someone in your life, if that's a friend, a partner, a mom, a dad, a spouse, a sister, whoever that is, to be your accountability partner, which can help you overcome some of these tough times, especially when you don't feel like doing things, or maybe it's not front of mind enough for you to remember. An accountability partner is an incredibly valuable asset, so lean into those people in your life. Now, I hope you guys have gained a little bit of insight and taken away my 3 key lessons that I learned from this. By starting small, we have the ability to master the skill of showing up. Showing up is half of the battle. And when we allow ourselves the ability to consistently show up, we can start building new habits in our life. Number 2 is make it obvious. If we're talking about making things obvious, how can you take my little vitamin hack and integrate other things into your life about making them obvious? If it's putting your journal in front of your keyboard in the morning, if it's doing any other thing like that, being able to integrate an obvious standard for a new habit that you're trying to build is a great way to get it off the ground and start building momentum. Number 3 is make it accountable. How can you look at someone in your life to be an accountability partner to help you accomplish the things that you're looking for? Hope that this has brought value for you. If you're ever struggling to kind of keep your mindset solid, especially in times like today when the economy is not so great, here are 3 tips that you can check out that'll help you kind of keep a healthy mindset, especially in economic times. See you guys in the next one.